gift right now. I know you can do it. I know you're listening, and I know you have the means to do so. Give for those who can't. 888-376-9692 or WNYC.org. Click donate, and thank you so very much for your contribution.
WNYC support comes from Neon presenting Epic, Elvis Presley in concert from director Baz Luhrmann. Lost footage of Elvis's 1972 residency is being shown for the first time, now playing in IMAX and in theaters everywhere February 27th.
This is WNYC 93.9 FM and AM 820, NPR News and the New York Conversation.
Marketplace is supported by Progressive Insurance. Progressive is looking for individuals who want to join an inclusive and unique culture. More information, including application, at progressive.com/careers.
That line about neither a borrower nor a lender be? With apologies to one William Shakespeare, the economy just doesn't work like that. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Amazon Business, dedicated to helping businesses save time on office tasks and empower leaders with business buying solutions that support teams to focus on growing the business. Learn about smart business buying at amazonbusiness.com. And by The Economist, providing reporting and analysis on global politics, economics, science, and culture, covering international trends and emerging issues shaping the world today. More information at economist.com. And by Bison Managed 401k, a service where advisors actively manage 401k accounts to help individuals meet retirement goals. The Bison Calculator is available at powermy401k.com.
In Los Angeles, I'm Kai Risdall. It is Thursday today. This one is the 26th of February. Good as always to have you along, everybody. This economy, this one specifically the U.S., the global economy too, almost all other countries as well, run on debt. Credit, national or sovereign debt, the bills, bonds, and notes that governments sell. Individual debt, car loans and mortgages. Corporate debt as well, because companies sell bonds too, you know. Increasingly, though, companies are trying to get their hands on more capital by going to what are called private credit markets, borrowing money from big investors or money managers rather than actual banks. According to the Federal Reserve, the private credit market has exploded since the 2008 financial crisis. Exploded is my word, not theirs. It's 5 times bigger now than it was back then, somewhere near the $2 trillion mark globally. The last couple of weeks, though, the private credit market has gone a little bit sideways, and economists and analysts aren't totally sure what to make of it. Marketplace's Daniel Ackerman starts us off.
After the financial crisis, regulation forced big banks to tighten up their lending practices. Elizabeth DeFontenay of Duke University says that made it harder for some companies to get loans.
And so this has really created an opening for private credit funds to step in.
She says private lending can be riskier than bank loans or corporate bonds, but Laura Veldkamp of Columbia University says that's part of the appeal.
Typically, you'll get a higher rate of return in private credit.
Investors tend to be the ones with an appetite for that kind of risk.
So you might have an endowment fund. You might have a wealthy person trying to achieve more diversification.
As for the companies receiving those loans, Gerald Cohen of UNC says,
a significant amount of private credit has been in the software industry.
Which he says shouldn't be a surprise. Software firms are often startups too small to sell bonds or may not meet requirements for bank loans. Cohen says the problem right now is that software companies are threatened by the development of artificial intelligence.
Is AI just going to be able to develop all our software? Do we need software companies anymore?
Those fears caused share prices for private credit managers to drop in recent weeks. By itself, that's not a huge deal, says Columbia's Laura Veldkamp, but
maybe this is the canary in the coal mine.
Veldkamp says there could be ripple effects. Like, remember those big banks? The ones too big to fail? Veldkamp says they sometimes lend to the very private credit managers who make those riskier loans. And while we're nowhere near a private credit collapse,
the concern is that this is just the beginning and that this is a more widespread phenomenon.
But she says it's still too early to tell. I'm Daniel Ackerman for Marketplace.
We're going to turn now from the vibes of the financial markets to some of the hard data of this economy, the January Producer Price Index specifically. It's going to be upon us tomorrow and is going to feed into the data stream that the Federal Reserve is watching as it tries to figure out which is the bigger economic boogeyman right now, aggressive price gains or anemic job gains. Marketplace's Mitchell Hartman has our preview.
Let's start with a simple definition.
Producer price inflation is wholesale inflation. It's not the one that faces consumers, but it dictates decisions that companies have to make and how they're raising prices.
Ross Mayfield is an investment strategist at Baird, which is a Marketplace underwriter. He expects tomorrow's report to show PPI cooled off a bit in January and continued to be driven by rising prices for services.
Services inflation, it's typically the thing the Fed cares more about because it's more reflective of the underlying economy, the labor market.
And which services are driving wholesale inflation? Here's Scott Helfstein at investment firm Global X.
Utilities and energy. Interestingly, utilities have also been driving consumer prices higher.
Blame power-hungry data centers in part for that.
We've also seen professional services, everything from accounting to waste management, driving prices.
Where there's been sharp goods inflation is for raw materials and other inputs for manufacturing and construction that face high import taxes.
It's pretty staggering.
Ken Simonson is chief economist at Associated General Contractors of America.
Construction was definitely hit hard by the tariffs on aluminum, steel, and copper.
Prices up 28%, 17%, and 11% last year. Also sharply higher appliances and furniture. Simonson says all this has led clients to hold off on starting new construction projects from factories to houses. I'm Mitchell Hartman for Marketplace.
Here's one more consumer price-related item for you. Home mortgages. Freddie Mac said this morning that the average rate on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage has dipped below 6% for the first time in 3.5 years. 5.98% is the actual number, so not a whole lot below 6, but at this point, the housing market will probably take what it can get. Let's do the numbers. Dow Industrial's up 17 points today. We'll call that percentage-wise flat, 49,499. The Nasdaq dropped 273 points. That is 1.2%, finished at 22,878. See also technology, NVIDIA, hello. The S&P 500 gave back 37 points, about 0.5%, 69 and 8 there. Daniel Ackerman was talking about private credit markets. Blue Owl Capital is the asset management firm that sparked a bit of panic this week when it changed the rules for some of its investors. Blue Owl Capital, ticker symbol, ticker symbol, OWL, that's a good one, shrank 1.1% today. Apollo Global Management, that's another private equity firm, decreased 2.4%. Blackstone declined about 0.2%. A new smartphone forecast says sales are going to drop by almost 13% in 2026. That is a lot. It's because of a shortage of memory chips. Here's the quote: "The tariffs and pandemic crisis seem a joke compared to this." That's from a researcher at IDP, the company that did the analysis. Apple down about 0.5% today. Alphabet, they do Google's Android and Pixel, contracted 1.8%. You are listening to Marketplace.
The Numbers is supported by Odoo.com, your entire business on one platform. Marketplace is supported by Revenued, providing working capital for businesses whose cash flow is holding them back. Revenued approves businesses based on revenue, not credit, with funds approved and available in a day. More at getrevenued.com. And by Fidelity Investments, a dedicated advisor can help build a flexible wealth plan. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. And by Barron's Investor Circle, a new product offering investors stock picks, market insights, and access to the Barron's editors behind over a century of financial reporting. Learn more at barrons.com/investor circle.
Hi, it's Juana Summers. You might know that NPR and this station lost their federal funding last year. That means it's a new era for public media. We're still here, and we're committed to serving you as our new chapter begins. Let's get to work to preserve this essential public service. Donate to this station today, and thank you.
Here's how to do it. You call 888-376-9692. You can also make that contribution at WNYC.org. We're going by goals here because at the end of the day, and this is the brass tacks, is that WNYC is down its federal funding. We've been defunded. We no longer get federal funding for what we do, and for WNYC in particular, that's $3 million a year, year after year. And we need to make that gap on top of everything we make during these regular pledge drives. So we had a goal of 10,000 contributions by the end of this pledge drive. We had a goal before 7 o'clock of 200. We have 38 to go. We can do it. We have about 21 minutes left. I know we can do it, but it really will require everyone getting on board and standing up right now. If you're cooking dinner, just put it on simmer for a minute. If you're driving, just pull over for a second. Just call. We need you to stand up right now for WNYC and do your part to keep us strong into the next century. 888-376-9692 or WNYC.org.
Of course, if you're also standing on a subway platform listening to WNYC on the excellent WNYC app, streaming it live, I know your train's not coming for a bit. The headways have been very unpleasant this week. So you'll have time to hit that pledge button. But when you make a contribution, you can also leave a comment, and it's great. And we'll read some of them on air. Like this one from Tony in Westfield, New Jersey. He writes, I've been listening for 25 years, and it's time I contributed. Love the many shows. Thank you, Tony. It's never too late to give. If you're a longtime listener, first-time contributor, welcome to the family. As Sean said, I think we're looking for 38 more contributions this hour. If you can do it, step up and help out. Contribute to the pledge drive. You rely on this public radio station, and we rely on you to step up during these times to contribute. 888-376-9692 is the number, or go to WNYC.org.
It was a long, punishing winter. Day after day of freezing temperatures. Long, dark nights. Bitter, cold winds. And mounds of filthy snow that never seemed to melt. But fear not. Spring is just around the corner. The perfect time to sport the brand new WNYC t-shirt. This tasteful moss green 100% cotton shirt features an illustration of the classic WNYC van from the 1930s. Celebrate the rich history of WNYC and let everyone know that you support great radio. Get the brand new van shirt now. Here's how.
Pick up the phone and call 888-376-9692 or go online to WNYC.org and click on donate. If you make a contribution while you're doing that of $10 a month, we'll happily gift you that shirt. But that's a today-only offer, so make sure to get that contribution in now. It's a great shirt. You can see a photo of it on the website and on the app. But again, $10 a month today only. But more importantly, of course, thank you gifts are great, but at the end of the day, what you're doing is getting us towards that goal of 200 contributions by 7 p.m. The clock is ticking. We have about 38 to go. I'm sure it's less now, but that was the last count we got. We can do it. And honestly, contribute at any level, and that will help us get to where we need to go to help plug that gap of the loss of our federal funding for what we do. We cannot continue to do what we do if we do not fill that gap. So we're asking for your support right now to be able to continue to do what you expect from WNYC 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 888-376-9692 or WNYC.org.
Yeah, we need your contribution. We're looking forward to it. And when you do, you can leave a comment. Here's one from Kathleen in West Orange, New Jersey, who writes, I grew up in Honolulu, Hawaii, in a household where my mom always had our local public radio station playing in the kitchen. It was the soundtrack of my childhood, my educational background music. I now live in West Orange, New Jersey, and have become that mom. WNYC is always playing in our kitchen. I can't imagine life without WNYC. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Kathleen. And thank you to the listener who heard that and can relate with that. Maybe you grew up with public radio and now you are the one that plays it in the background. It's your education. It's your child's entree to the world, really, to discover and learn about new places. And there's so many great shows on WNYC. Besides All Things Considered and Morning Edition, it's on 24 hours. Yeah. And we are only able to do that because of listener support. So be like Kathleen. Be like the nearly 200 people that have contributed since All Things Considered started at 4 o'clock today. We're looking for you to step up. Call 888-376-9692 or go to the website, WNYC.org, and thank you if you've already contributed.
This is Marketplace. I'm Kai Rizdal. When you think about the economy of Los Angeles, The first industry that comes to mind is surely entertainment, then maybe technology, some aerospace and defense. But on a cold and rainy morning last week, we got a peek into a more unsung slice of the economy around here, about 20 minutes east of downtown in South El Monte.
Stop. Private space. Employees only. Hi. Sorry to barge in, but it's raining outside, and it's nice and warm and dry in here. Hi, I'm Kai.
Hey, Kai Joe.
Nice to see you, Joe. How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you. How are you?
Good.
That's Shayna Samuels and Joe Willis. They are a husband and wife team, co-owners, too, of a clothing company called City Threads. It's a small warehouse kind of space full of tables covered with fabric, about 8 people working away on sewing machines.
This is one of our sewing factories we've been working with for almost 15 years. Right now they're working on a bunch of swimwear.
Tell me about your company, first of all.
Okay, well, City Threads is the largest American-made clothing brand for kids. We do 100% cotton, 100% organic cotton basics, and all sorts of styles. We do T-shirts and leggings and underwear, anything you can think of.
Production for City Threads happens in Los Angeles. There are something like 45,000 garment workers in this city. But clothing manufacturing as a whole has mostly moved overseas. Only about 3% of all of the clothing and shoes sold in the United States are made in the United States. That's from the American Apparel and Footwear Association.
How long have you been doing this?
Almost 25 years.
This was your idea way back in the day, right?
Yes. This was my idea. Joe was in graduate school for composing for TV and film. Yeah. And I started the line, and every time he had a break, I would be like, can you just help me for a little bit? And then he graduated from that program, and he said, I'll give you 6 months. And
here we are 23 years later, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Wow. Tell me how it works, because you are a small, right? It's only like 8-ish, 10-ish people tops, right? In your company proper?
There's the 2 of us, and then we have 7 employees in our office full time. But the whole infrastructure of manufacturing around town, it ends up being hundreds of people. We basically use, like, this is one sewing contractor, and you can see how she has, a certain amount of employees here. Right. And then we also have, there's a couple more sewers.
We have dye houses.
It's always interesting to me when I come to a place like this in Los Angeles, and I'm just going to duck my head out in the rain. We are in a very nondescript, no offense, strip mall in South El Monte.
Yeah.
Right, in the greater Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
And this place is a huge garment hub, like for the entire U.S. economy.
There's a lot of nooks and crannies.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly
People are surprised how unglamorous the fashion business here is. We're not facing the public really too often. We're facing customers. You have pretty gritty office buildings and warehouses where all this stuff is getting done. Yeah.
7 people on your office staff, but you have clearly a network of contractors, right?
Yes.
That's a management process. That's a sourcing challenge. It's all kinds of things for you to run the business, right?
Yes. Yeah, I would say that when we first started out, you're looking for just someone who can sew the styles that you're doing. Like at the time, Lucky Brand was a big brand in LA at the time when we started. They no longer manufactured in America, but at that time they did. And so a lot of the contractors around town were doing Lucky Brand. And we're like, oh, that's kind of like a high quality brand. They do cotton basics. That's similar to what we're doing. So we'd get referred to like a sewer who was doing Lucky Brand, and then they would do our stuff. And then they'd be like, "Oh, I know a dye house who also dyes for Lucky Brand." Oh, great. Okay, so we'll go check them out. And then
there's a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot
of cutters and dyers and sewers and right.
Yeah. I mean, there's multiple ways to do manufacturing. At first, it's easier to start. As you said, there's a company who will do a full package for you. So you just say, "Here's the styles we want to make." You show them like your samples and like, "Oh, we'll make these for you. We'll take care of it from beginning to end." And that, in theory, would be easier unless they screw up your stuff, which happened the first time.
Are you speaking from experience here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you're the small fish and you don't make it onto the sewing machines because they're sewing somebody else.
Somebody who's bigger and more important.
Especially
Do you want to see some of our samples?
Well, I was just going to say, I want to walk around in just a second, but I guess the first question is, the United States, for a whole lot of reasons, is an expensive place to do the kind of work that you're doing. You could outsource it. You could send it to Southeast Asia. You could send it to a zillion different places and have it be cheaper per piece and thus improve your profit margin, all that jazz. You're looking at me skeptically.
Well, I feel like here we can see it every step of the process. We buy the fabric goes to the cutter. If there's a mistake, we see it there and we repair it.
So our production manager's here all the time.
So, sorry. So it's interesting. So all right, so let's walk around now.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm being very disjointed this morning. It's because I'm freezing my yayas off. We have a couple of piles of fabric here. We got a pile of gray stuff, and we got a pile of pink stuff. What am I looking at?
I think the rash guards.
Yeah, these are
Like the kids wear on the beach and stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is
All right.
swim.
Oh, sure it is. Yeah, just feeling the fabric. Yeah.
Sun protection
Right,
is
sure.
a
My
great
wife was
thing.
big on those.
Yes, yes.
Our kids hated them, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, but you don't want to, like, you send your kid to camp, you don't want to have to worry about sunscreen.
I hear you.
I'm a redhead.
You
Yeah.
are speaking my wife's language.
We make, these are swim leggings.
Is that like rash guards for
guards
legs?
for the legs?
Okay,
Because
can I just say though, no kid wants to wear leggings to the beach, and come on.
oh my gosh! But if they are already sunburned and you are on vacation and you want to keep playing,
You'll pay the price?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
So we have piles of fabric here. They have come from the cutter, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it comes from the cutter just in tied up bundles, and then the sewer has to sort of organize them by color and size.
so this
and
is
starts,
unsewn.
Yeah, that's like a bundle unsewn right
How do you
here.
know?
Because
Because
there's no,
you've been doing this for
well,
25
there's-
years?
Well, there's no stitches
There's
on
no-
any side.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true.
Shayna and Joe walk me through all of the contractors that work on a piece of clothing before it's ready to ship out of their warehouse in downtown Los Angeles. Their business counts on parents coming back as kids grow, buying a T-shirt or pants in the next size up. Everything costs pretty much between $20 and $40. It's a balance, they said, between keeping things at a reasonable price point while also making quality stuff here. You guys grew up here?
Yeah.
Right?
Correct, yeah.
Your grandmother had a store?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your grandparents were
Yeah,
in like
on both
clothing
sides
and
of my
garments and
family,
stuff,
they
right?
worked in the garment industry in
Right.
different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and you went to like Santa Monica High School or something, right?
Correct.
And then
yeah.
UC
Okay.
Santa Cruz.
Okay, so you've seen the garment thing in LA for, I don't know, 40-ish years, give or take, right?
Probably.
Talk to me about how it's changed and where you think it is now, right? Just because manufacturing in America is changing, all that stuff.
Yeah, well, my grandfather was in the shoe. They were both in leather. One was a cutter for leather coats. I know that the industry, there was a lot more manufacturing going on here.
Right.
So all the contractors that we use now, they were around back then, and they're still here. A lot of them probably closed, but the ones that are still here are making do by having a smaller staff, a smaller
Right.
factory. But
Right.
there's still enough of an infrastructure here that we can still do it. There's not just one dye house or one cutter or one sewer. There's a big enough group that multiple lines can still produce, and there's still competition for price.
Right.
And I do think also, like, people could start clothing lines, but they could also start sewing factories. I mean, we're in this room. It's
Right, I mean, we should say it's not a big room, right? I mean, it's,
and
there's-
it's just sewing machine. It's pretty
right.
like.
but it's a business, it's a going concern, right? And
Yeah.
you were clearly not their only customer. They've got other people they work
Right.
with. And,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and so there is that ecosystem.
Yeah, any part of the ecosystem is still here.
Yeah, I mean, if someone was starting a clothing line, I would say start it here. We knew people who had, the stories always started here, and then when I wanted to cut costs, I went overseas.
Right.
For us, it didn't work that way, and I think for other people, I guess it's sort of like how you design it. Sometimes I think it's like how many bells and whistles do you want to put into a garment, because each thing you add in is an added price. So if you keep it simple, you can keep the pricing lower here.
Thanks, you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Thank you.
Marketplace is supported by Viking, dedicated to bringing travelers to the heart of each destination with small ship, river, ocean, and expedition voyages, offering cultural enrichment and immersive experiences. Discover more at Viking.com. And by GEP, at the forefront of agentic procurement orchestration and autonomous supply chains. With GEP Smart Software, GEP Key Agentic AI, and Strategy Consulting, GEP works to help business optimize value and reduce risk.
This final note on the way out today, a reminder that the global economy never strays far from global politics, or maybe it's the other way around, I don't know. Today's episode brought to you by whatever is happening with Iran and President Trump. Petroleum products are our barometers of choice. Brent North Sea crude, the global benchmark, a hair over $70 a barrel today. Gas at the American pump, $2.98. Our daily production team includes Olivia Burdett, Andy Corbin, Maria Hollenhorst, Sarah Leeson, Sean McHenry, Michaela Sia, and Sophia Terenzio. Will Story is the supervising senior producer, and I'm Kai Risdall. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. This is APM.
Hey, what's up with Shelley from accounting?
You mean her warm